Hello everyone, and welcome back to Everlasting Summer. This is the Zhenya route, the mod that I believe is considered like an official piece of Everlasting Summer. It's also known as One Pioneer's Story. I wasn't expecting it to start off like that, or to then be followed up with, "My world is empty. As empty as I am." I'm not really sure how this is gonna go, so was not expecting Zhenya's route to be intense. I destroyed myself to become a whole world, a world of emptiness that destroyed me. I believed I had someone's fate in my hands, the power to end the lives of others. Also, in fact, I'm not entirely sure if this is... since it's Zhenya's route, I suppose this is Semyon speaking? It also fits considering how very angsty it is. For some reason, I thought it was going to be from Zhenya's perspective. But I was only wandering in the darkness, vainly hiding from any new beam of light, every one of which was only spawning empty shadows. Every shadow was my faceless reflection, a cloud of absolute darkness, with a single goal: to consume me. I was hiding from them, merging with them. They were becoming me, and I was becoming them, and finally it didn't matter which one of us is on that side of the mirror. Although in this case, it's not just a cliched phrase or the reflection of a crude loser. It's a fact. Even though this wasn't the case before, even though before the worlds were many and my life could be called a life. Because it all ended in a single moment. First was this damn bus, again, everywhere, and a crowd of those joyfully whooping pioneers around, the same as me. And then again and again, like a vivid kaleidoscope of faces, events, emotions, and feelings. But who the hell cares anymore? You know, if a man has died, he will regret what he didn't have time for, what he didn't do, what he didn't say, rather than exactly how his life journey ended. But am I in one of those places where the souls go after death? And everything could have been different too. It didn't matter that the end is always one and the same. If the road to it can vary, it depends on my choice. It did before. So when did everything change? The different versions of events, the lines of life, the people's fates seem to intertwine several times over, resulting in something like a rope of doom, which you can only hang yourself on. So when did it all change? Surely not in a single day, a single hour, but certainly so fast I didn't even have time to notice. The rays of summer sun shined into my eyes. A summer one. Well, who would have thought? What a surprise. But it was winter yesterday. Or was it yesterday? I know there's a pack of cigarettes and a matchbox tucked away in the driver's glove box. My head spun from the deep breaths I inhaled, and the nasty smell of menthol fettered my brain with a chill. Cosmos for export. They could damn well make stuff for export then, unlike now. Nuclear reactors, rifles, cigarettes, and communism. Lots of communism, in boxes, crates, containers, in the cargo holds of ships, in the freight sections of planes, in the good wagons of trains, even in spaceships. Ever more communism, to the pygmies of Africa, Incas of South America, Papuans of New Guinea. And I guess we can drop a package for the penguins in Antarctica, too. I'm raving. Finishing the third cigarette, I stared at the gates and started to wait. I don't even need a clock. There's an unfailing internal chronometer working in my head. Now, just a little bit longer. One of the doors squeaked disgustingly and opened up a bit, and from behind it peeked out a girl in a pioneer uniform, who looked around and noticed me. Walking closer, she sniffed the heavy, hot air and seemed to be a bit surprised, but immediately smiled and spoke. "Hi, you must be new." Jeez. I shouted, got up, and went to the camp ignoring her. It was hilarious once, then it was fun, now it's just a habit. A foolish but obsessive habit, like putting different things in different pockets. I, for example, can't carry a phone in my right pocket because... hell if I know why. And this is the same deal. Insulting a girl in the morning is a good start to the day. Grumpy old man Semyon. I met another pioneer girl on the way. To be more precise, she tried to hit me on the back, but I jumped away in time and glared at her in a way that seemed to make the poor girl suddenly come up, with more urgent things to do. The camp leader's hut was drowning in a storm of lilacs. Can I just drown already, damn it? The loud slam of the door distracted the occupant from reading some book. No, I really never wondered what the camp leader reads. Without undressing, I hopped onto the bed and threw my feet into their winter boots on the backboard. Feet in their winter boots. How did I even read that? I read that twice, and I feel like I read it wrong both times. "What do you think you're doing? And for that matter, who are you?" the camp leader asked, genuinely resentful. "Shut your mouth, woman," I said lazily. "Ooh, dark Semyon." She was petrified, unable to say a word. It's always like this every damn time. "Better yet, tell me, why have you still not found yourself a man? How old are you? 25? Late 20s? You should understand the way the world works at this age." "Okay, dark Semyon, cool your jets." For a moment, a heavy silence hung in the room. "You don't know? I'll tell you then. Who the hell would want someone like you?" Camp leader's house resounded with a loud laugh, or something more like a hoarse neigh, while a familiar melody rang outside. A couple of times I tried to find out where the supper music was coming from, so instead of it, the speakers would play something more or less cheery throughout the camp. I didn't, though. Looks like this angelic singing needs neither a player nor wires or electricity. The hell with it, then. For example, right now I wouldn't be against the whole camp hearing me laugh. I don't think I personally want to hear you laugh, considering you apparently laugh like a horse. But at whom? Not at myself, no. I'm just laughing because laughter is a wonderful defense mechanism and a way to allay the boredom. How much does a minute of laughter give you? 5 minutes of life? Well, it's of no use to me. I'm a de facto immortal. Just need a notarial certification. Notarial. How dare you talk this way to your elder? Oh yeah, dear. Change the track already, will you? Honestly, I'm sick of listening to the same thing time and time again. Let's try it this way. Hello, how are you doing? See? It's not that difficult. Okay, your turn. What? Not what. It's hello, how are you doing? And I'll reply, thanks, bad as always, and maybe I'll even add, thanks to your prayers. Dark Semyon is just edgelord Semyon. Get out of here, I'll call the police. How? With the Pigeon Express? The phone isn't working. Yes, but the camp leader faltered. Although... I reached into my pocket, the left one, took out my mobile and threw it at her. Here, try it. The camp leader caught the phone. It jumped around several times in her hands and almost fell to the floor. What is this? A phone. I gave a short answer and closed my eyes. That thing, you know, ting-a-ling-a-ling, the telephone began to ring. Are you sick in the head? The camp leader seemed to have finally started to come to her senses. What about you? I don't know what's happening here. Have you seen the film Groundhog Day? You haven't. Well, anyway, if that library of yours had some books on psychiatry, I would have been able to answer the question about my psychiatric condition with more certainty. That's why for now I'm only ready to tell you as an amateur, yes, Olay dear, I'm sick. I can't tell if it's just like a different version of her name, or Semyon's just saying her name wrong. And again the loud devilish laugh. Devil horse. The camp leader was stunned and released the phone from her hand. It fell on the edge of the bed and bounced towards me. I picked up the cell at once and put it in my pocket. But not in love with you, I added, opening one eye. What? Someone shyly knocked on the door, then it opened and a pioneer girl appeared at the doorstep. Oh, god damn it. I theatrically jumped off the bed. And where's the chopper? Forgotten at home? The girl looked at the camp leader in confusion. This is... She started, then sighed and sank heavily onto the opposite bed. Actually, I knew that the camp leader isn't afraid of me. The fear is simply not included in her program. She can be resentful. Yeah, as much as you want. Imitate fright, most assuredly. But a couple of minutes will pass and she'll withdraw, leaving me be. Camp leader my foot. If I were in her shoes. This must be a bad time. The girl shyly prattled, casting her eyes down and preparing to leave. Why, don't be shy, I exclaimed hospitably, gesturing to a place near me. Sit down now, make yourself at home. No, I... Sit down, I said. I barked. Now this girl can certainly display genuine fear, fright, fear, and even terror. She slowly approached and sat on my bed, clinging to the backboard. So, got anything nice to tell me? I, the same as any other kid, was taught by my parents since childhood that I shouldn't open the door to strangers. And also that I would be better off not going to who knows where when called by who knows who. But that was in childhood. And now literally everything depends on whether or not I trust a stranger. It seems like a whole life has gone by already and I had time to get old mentally, if not physically. And I forgot what winter is. Snow, cold, the evening darkness, a wind that chills to the bone, and eternal muddy slush. Same goes for the city. Not stopping for a minute, always running somewhere and fumigating the dirty sky and people with its lines of rotten chimneys and car exhausts. It stayed in the distant past like the faded pages of an old photo album that had been thrown into a storeroom as unnecessary. Hey. The voice of the girl sitting nearby distracted me from these thoughts. You hung up again. Still thinking about that? About what? She meant no offense and I asked again just for the sake of it. I already knew the answer. You know. We were sitting on the library's roof, our legs dangling over the edge. Zhenya leaned back a bit, her hair beautifully fluttering in the wind. The bright sun was shining into our eyes, making us squint, but it wasn't blinding, more like velvety warm, and seemed to envelope your whole body in the pleasant heat of a sunny day. No. I mean, I don't know, I guess. I feel like I've never seen Semyon smile before. Like, a nice smile and not crazy. No, I mean, I don't know, I guess. Lately, I can't always say what I'm thinking, just a mush of thoughts in my head. I fell silent for a moment and looked at Zhenya. She looked like she was uninterested not only in our conversation, but in everything happening around her in general. As if this girl was okay with everything, the summer, the sun, the pleasant wind, our youth. As if this is enough for her to be happy and the rest are just foolish trivialities. In short, you get what I'm saying. Why do you even ask? Because a human is a social creature. It's supposed to communicate with others like it. She grinned almost unnoticeably. Yeah, right. Look who's talking. Wait here. I'll go get the reward for the most communicative pioneer of the year, 1980 whatever. What about me? I, unlike some people, have quite specific responsibilities in this camp. I'm a respected member of our collective, irreplaceable even, in a sense, in contrast to you. Zenya's eyes sparkled as she grinned mockingly. Responsibilities? Yeah, sure. I covered my eyes with my palm and leaned back. Seriously, can you hear yourself? Responsibilities, collective. Hey, Zhenya said sternly and poked my belly. I don't know. I moaned mostly theatrically and cast a wrathful glance in her direction. What if I fell down, hurt myself, huh? That would be highly regrettable. There isn't even any place to get life insurance here. Yeah, and there would be no one to pay the reimbursement to afterwards. Well, no one is. I rubbed the back of my head, smiled dumbly, and said, What about you? Me? Zhenya thought for a second. Well, maybe, though I don't think the canteen accepts dollars, euro, credit cards, or, at the very least, Russian rubles. And there's probably no currency exchange here either. And even if there was, who knows how the exchange rate is doing. I don't want to suffer from the inflation, you know. Demand they pay you in gold. Gold my ass. She threw herself on me, trying to either tickle me, squeeze me, beat me down, or all of the above. Oh no, did our angsty Semyon have sweet times with Zhenya, and then he has to redo it all over again, and now he's just bitter and angry? Leaving the camp leader's house, I was chuckling. I probably shouldn't have expected anything from the conversation with this pioneer girl. And I didn't. Why should I? It's all been known for a long time. I'm able to play this piece on my own, like a miserable one-man show. What an irony. A play with one actor, in a theater with one spectator, in a city with one citizen, in a universe with one living being. Or living in quotation marks. Or maybe living in italics. What kind of obituary would you prefer? With scroll work or without? With capitals or without? What font would you like? Should the paper be glossy or matte? Again. Down the road was skipping a jolly little girl. Should I maybe start with her this time around? I remember there being splendid meat hooks in the canteen. This is serial killer Semyon. Or shouldn't I? And who are you? She blurted out, coming up to me. I'm the terror that flaps in the night. Boo. I demonstratively spread my arms and loomed over her. That's not scary at all. Not scary? Well, it'll do for now. I grinned and went forward. Hey! Her shout followed me. Wait! The girl caught up to me and grabbed my hand. Don't touch me. Ugh, disgusting child, don't touch me! I cried with disgust and forcibly jerked my hand so the younger pioneer flew off the road and fell into the bushes. I had a feeling she was going to get thrown down. I thought he was just going to walk by, push her, and then that's it. No other interaction. Ouch, that hurt! She started to cry. Strange. No, this is really strange. I don't think something like this has ever happened before. Of course, this day has repeated itself so many times already that it's impossible to count. And the point is really not the girl flying into the bushes, it's that there shouldn't be anything new. Even such an insignificant, as one might think, occurrence may in the end turn out to be more important than all of the previous times. Than the first time. I don't know why, I just feel that it's simply been too long since anything new happened. Of course, this world isn't comparable to a monotone mechanism that does its work soullessly, but all the variations of the script are familiar to me. And when I say all, I mean all. A couple of minutes ago into the camp leader's house could have come not that shy pioneer, but the girl who met me at the camp's gates, and I would be ready. Or the arrogant pioneer girl that greets strangers with a thump on the back, and I would be ready. Or even this little crybaby, and I would still be ready. But now, at this very moment, something is happening that I'm not ready for. And above all, I'm not ready for surprises. The girl continued to cry, looking at me with the eyes full of anger and resentment. You! It's all your fault! Come on, what are you crying for? I walked up to her hesitantly and reached out my hand. Semyon, no matter what Semyon is, he still can't deal with somebody crying. For a second the girl made a puzzled face, but then grabbed me and got to her feet with a jerk. Felt ashamed, did you? That's the point. You can't bully the little ones. Ashamed? And then he just pushes her again and leaves. I repeated, my thoughts far from here. Why? Because of you? Why would I be? But you should. She frowned and ran towards the camp leader's house. Ooh, she's gonna tattletale. To complain, maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. For the first time in a long, long time, something like this has happened. Just a couple of minutes ago, I could say with certainty what each of the pioneers is occupied with at this particular moment. And what now? Phew. At dinner, the camp leader approached me. That turned out awkward, she began as she gathered her thoughts. Your parents called me and... But you could have behaved more properly. At least introduce yourself for a start, she said as her expression changed. But that's nothing. We will make a model pioneer of you. Before I would have told her in detail about both the pioneers and the modeling, but right now I just had no desire to talk, neither with her nor with anyone else. All right then, for a start, you should meet your comrades. The camp leader waved her hand, inviting someone to the table, and two girls approached us. Well, enjoy your meal. I have more things to do, she said uncertainly and left the pioneers alone with me. Hi, you're new, right? Do you like music? Join our music club. It's only me there right now, though. But with you there will be two of us. It'll be fun, don't you think? I didn't look at her and continued to eat intently. Leave him alone. Don't you see he's kinda a lame brain? If the first girl was just a bit dumb, the second one I would compare to that grumpy cat from the internet. How about it? I've never actually done this before. It just never crossed my mind. Well, if I don't know the future events now, then why not give it a try? I silently got up, took the compote glass, and poured it on the second pioneer's head. Bon appetit. I summed up this act of vandalism with a stony voice and headed to the exit of the canteen. The girl cried, squealed, wheezed, and even moaned somewhat hoarsely, but didn't try to stop me. Right now, I most wanted to be in some other place, to look at the world from the outside, to observe the suffering of others from the height of my experience. But starting today, those places are no more. At the doors, I bumped into that first girl who I met at the gates, tried to go around her, but received a biting slap in the face. The sound immediately rang through the canteen, its echo bouncing off the ceiling. In the space of a moment, complete silence fell. In less than a second, my hand clenched into a fist, nails digging into the palm, the skin on my knuckles stretching almost to the point of rupturing. I was going to knock this bitch out. Since we're pretty much on the path of Semyon being a douche, I kind of want him to do it. If you're gonna be a douche, you've already committed some douchery, you might as well keep going, you know? Maybe I was late by a fraction of a second. Between us, as if out of the ground, sprang the little pioneer that I threw into the bushes, who spread her hands sideways, protecting her friend with her small body. And that was the end of that. I unclenched my fist, my willpower gone, lowered my head, squeezed past them, and left the canteen. Did they really turn out to be stronger than me? Well, I mean, you mean physically or mentally? Why did something like this even happen? Before I would've. Why even would nothing stop me so many times? Hitting a girl was nothing. I mean, earlier you did kind of mention that you were gonna put Ulyana onto meat hooks, so... I've done worse things. Looks like this would have changed without informing me. This world. Even if I try. Oh god, that scared me. Even if I try really hard to concentrate on reading correctly, I can't do it. I'm sorry. The rings of cigarette smoke were slowly drifting towards Genda. How many? There should be like 8, at least modern, like the current cigarettes that get put out now. There should be at least like 8 in a pack. Semyon's already smoked like 3 of them. This is his 4th one. He's gonna... Jeez. Gonna run out before the day is ended. The rings of cigarette smoke were slowly drifting towards Genda. The pack was almost empty already. Oh, well, there you go. And there's nowhere else to get smokes here. I'll have to wait another week. Obviously, I could go to the autistic brothers. Aww. Semyon's mean. Take the bottle of vodka and get drunk. But what would that change? Decisions. So complicated now and so simple then. Pho. Did I start to think like that damn loser already? No, never. Got any more? Yet another pioneer girl took a seat near me. What? I asked uncomprehendingly. She pointed at the cigarette. Smoking is bad for your health. Look who's talking. She grinned. Mine's made of rubber. Want to try it? No need. I'll take it on trust. I handed a cigarette to her and gave her a light. You did something cool today. Wow. She said before the coughing stopped. And the camp leader in her hut, I heard, and at supper. At least, I'm not the camp's biggest disgrace now. I looked at her carefully. The pioneer was smoking the cigarette casually and smiling so complacently as if the whole world had already acknowledged her righteousness. And you, I see, are only thinking of yourself. What? What are you talking about? No. Her expression changed. She even panicked a little and choked on the smoke. But you're right. You were never the worst out there. I'm not so sure about myself, though. You're talking so, well, coolly. Now, praise from her was certainly all I needed. Or maybe... Listen. I started, smiling one of my studied smiles. While we're at it, do you want to meet for a drink, so to say? You got any? The pioneer's eyes flashed. I can always find some for a good comrade. Although it all started like a bad novel that's printed by a chapter in a gutter newspaper, it turned out completely different. The memories blended together in a continuous haze of an orange-red tone, like a yellow brick road leading to Emerald City. Though Dorothy grew up a bit and earned a little by prostitution, okay? Because instead of studying diligently, she was all caught up in dreams of a magical land. The Cowardly Lion got hooked on meth and was shot in a firefight with the police. Now the Tin Man had a pretty good life. He's become a hitman. And Scarecrow didn't even change at all. He got himself a stable, low-paying job in an office with convenient working hours from 9 to 6, and an absence of career opportunities. There probably wasn't any magical city ahead in the first place. An endless road with no destination or meaning. You know, at the time he really was talking about something like this, tried to warn me at least. I wasn't listening, and as a result ended up as the only one to get stuck in this damn Mobius strip. She was sitting nearby and squinting with discontent. Hey, hello, Earth is calling. Okay, what's wrong? Like I can't take a moment to think already? Thoughts should lead to a result, and what have you got? Well, what have I got? A lack of results. A lack of results is still a result. Zhenya painfully pinched me on the shoulder and moved a meter away. And then she appeared. No, Zhenya. Zenyas have always been in Sovino. But at the time I saw my Zhenya for the first time. Maybe I don't remember what happened before and what came after that, well. But those several days will forever remain in my memory. Poor angsty Semyon. He was so in love with Zhenya, and now he's stuck forever. Repeating. I've already realized clearly that this is not my frozen world. Understood that in damn it, why do I keep doing that? Understood that an eternity later I had again, as I had once before, managed to fall into another. Manage, accidentally, as if, for the second, the orbits of two planets crossed and I only had a moment. If I were a second late, they'd fly away from each other forever, getting farther and farther apart with stupendous speed. This world is as lonely and empty as the previous one. But the main thing in it is that it's different. And there are things here unfamiliar to me. Oh, this is really important. It's so important for me. For example, Zhenya sitting not in the library but at the canteen's porch. After all that's happened, I was just not capable of sarcasm. Hi, I said as I came closer, but still stopping at a safe distance. Zhenya raised her eyes to me. Her face showed that she didn't expect to meet someone here. Hi. And her voice didn't sound like usual, not that I would have mistaken the librarian's intonation for anything else. Decided to get supper earlier? No, I don't know. When's supper again? She pattered. What do you mean, when's supper? Her answer left me in a stupor and I broke into a smile, although a chill ran through my whole body. No, sorry. Of course I know when supper is. It's just, well... Zhenya got completely confused and stared at her feet. It seemed like the last thing she wanted right now was to be here, but she didn't have enough resolve to leave. It was strange, but didn't scare me at all. On the contrary, I was happy because something new, beyond the scope of the pattern, has happened. Are you alright? I asked the stupidest question possible in this situation. What did I even expect to hear in return? Yes, thank you. For what? I don't know. Well, for being worried. Well, A faint tinge of discontent appeared on her face, but disappeared immediately, and Zhenya slowly got up. I gotta go. Wait, but weren't you on your way to the canteen? I'll come later. I got other things to do. Okay. I just realized this is Flashbacks, Semyon. I didn't stop her, but decided to follow. God knows how long has it been since anything like that happened to me. Only on my first few times here, maybe. Zhenya came to the square and quickly went into the direction of the library. She never turned around on the way, so I didn't even have to hide much. When the door shut behind her, I froze in hesitation. So what's next? Should I knock and go in? But what will I tell her? One wouldn't need to be a detective to realize that I've been following her. It's so weird to be knocking on the library door. I was brought out of my thoughts by Electronic, who appeared before me as if out of nowhere. What, came with a checklist? Yeah, just decided to visit the library. Nope, I'm confused, because his name was Semyon, and then it went back to the scary pioneer. Got it, I won't distract you then, he said, and prepared to leave already. Wait. Don't you think that lately Zhenya has been, well, behaving strangely, I guess? Electronic looked at me carefully, appraisingly even. Did something happen? No, nothing. Well, it's Semyon again. It looked as if I was making excuses, and a feeling of personal pettiness enveloped me. Why should I make excuses to him? I'm just asking. What, I can't even ask already? No, of course you can, he said nervously. Maybe she really has been a bit strange. I guess I've noticed something like that in the past couple of days. Really? And how did this strangeness manifest itself? I'm not sure. She's just usually more self-confident or something. You think we should talk to her? I was going to say you certainly shouldn't, but restrained myself. Okay, forget it. Maybe she's just in that mood. What mood? No mood. That one. Guess it. Aren't you one of our 4 scientists? I answered abruptly. Electronic thought for a moment as if pondering the fate of the world, and then nodded understandingly. Okay. I spread my arms a bit and lowered my head, indicating that if he had no more business with me, then it would be better for him to get back to building robots and to do so as soon as possible. Of course, he was a bit slow, but this time he understood me on the first try. When Electronic left, I sat, my back pressed against the tree near the library in such a way so I couldn't be seen from the window, and started to think. To be more specific, I tried to think, because there were catastrophically not enough facts or comprehensive analysis of the situation. I'm confused. Because earlier, didn't he pour juice on her? Like, I don't know where we are right now. I don't know if we're in a flashback, or this is the current timeline. I especially can't tell because his name keeps switching between Semyon and Pioneer, so it's really confusing me. When the wallpaper in your room changes from white to black, you can get surprised, scared, assume that they've been recolored without you knowing, get angry at the one who did that. But those are all emotions. A fact in that situation would be a note on the table saying something like, "Dear, I thought it would be better to get ready for eternity beforehand, so I changed the tone of the interior to a more fitting one." And what did I have on my hand at the moment? Behind me, a huge number of loops, now the librarian's strange behavior, and ahead, uncertainty. Not exactly a solid basis for constructing theories of any kind. Oh, and I was a master of theories, if anything. Though that was all in the past, because at some point I stopped caring completely about why exactly I'm destined to spend an eternity in this camp. Again. And whatever I decided, this is all not like me. I don't think like that and probably never did. It's as if someone put foreign words into my head. Did I stop being myself when I came into an alien world? The grass treacherously rustled under my feet, giving my presence away. I was sneaking up to the library, trying to find out what is happening inside. Zhenya was sitting behind a table, staring straight ahead, without even a thought flashed through my head. She looked bewildered, doomed maybe, like someone who was told they had only a matter of hours left to live. I wish I could tell her that everything's alright and in 5 days it'll all repeat again and then again. But how could this even be alright? It's like telling a sick man that he'll die in 5 days' time, but he shouldn't worry because in 7 days after, that he'll die again. About 10 minutes had passed, but Zhenya never moved. Sometimes it even seemed to me that she wasn't breathing. Now I began to realize with certainty that this is not just strange. This is it. The thing that threw me into this new world. I just had to decide what to start with. I could ask her head on, tell her my story. "Oh, here you are." The camp leader was standing behind me. I turned around abruptly and said irritably, "What do you want?" Like always. Like I used to. "What are you dithering here for? Forgot that you need to get a signature in the library too?" The camp leader seemed not to pay attention to my words and tone. Not like usual, but like some time long ago. Along with memories of my first appearance in this camp came the long-forgotten images of the local inhabitants. Those I had deemed to be people at the time, not just decorations. It's just, you see. I don't even want to hear it. Get it all signed before dinner. Of course, I was just going to see. Then go. Olga Dmitrievna followed me to the door with her eye, so I don't even have to choose what to do next. The camp leader helped. The library smelled like book dust, old Soviet furniture, and a little bit of damp. Zhenya was sitting and paying no attention to me, and seemed to only come to her senses when I closed the door. "Hi again," I started hesitantly. After all, I was used to a certain behavior and communication pattern with the camp's inhabitants, and it was hard to change my ways. And this camp leader didn't let me get ready either. I wish I'd strangled her with her Panama as always. Zhenya didn't answer but kept looking at me cautiously. Kind of came to get the checklist signed. "Okay, give it here," she answered unemotionally. I started to fumble in my pockets and then realized, no, there's totally something wrong happening with me. I should have gotten used to everything after all this time, and I'm behaving like a first grader. More specifically, like a first seasoner in the terms of this world. Think I lost it, I said, making an upset face. "That's too bad," she replied in the same dry and uninterested voice. I froze in some kind of superposition. If I turn around and leave now, then what? But at that moment, determination came from who knows where. "Can I ask you a question?" "What question?" "And really what?" "Don't you think they've been undersalting the food in the canteen lately? The nights have gotten pretty cold, right? Oh, by the way, do you know that I'm an alien from the future? Are you alright? Lately it seems like you're upset with something." Zenya's face showed a glimpse of interest. "Oh, we don't know each other." "Yeah, sure, it's just that. I saw you yesterday and thought." I was getting more and more entangled in lies. The inability to tell the truth was driving me ever further into autism and reducing my vocabulary. "I saw you running through the camp yesterday too, but we still don't know each other." "No, we don't, but I was told about you by Slavia. Yeah, you're roommates with her, right?" "And what did she tell you?" Little by little, Zhenya was starting to emerge from her contemplative condition. "Nothing." I let out a helpless sigh and heavily sank into the chair near the door. Outside the window, the many-voiced birds were singing their songs. The crickets were chattering, somewhere water was splashing, and from far away was the perky sound of children laughing. But all of that was there, beyond the walls of the library. Inside of here are only the two of us. Me and Zhenya, or to be more precise, a girl who looks like Zhenya. There was no fear, but rather wonder. Let's assume that I'm not me. Who are you, then? For a second I even felt insulted that she didn't know who I am. Why me? Oh, that me? That one? Yes, that guy. Pioneers of many worlds have told legends about me. But this specific Zhenya and this specific world seem to not give a damn about who I am. And what I am doing here, and our conversation that seemed to have started to interest her has turned into useless chatter. Who do I look like? Zhenya swept her eyes over me. A pioneer? Yeah, sure, a pioneer. That's logical, nice joke. I grinned strenuously. I wasn't joking. It's just that I look like myself and you don't. I don't look like myself. You don't look like yourself, God. The final assault has begun. In what sense? She marveled. In the sense that you are not Zhenya. No, I mean, you're not the local librarian. Who am I then? She moved her eyes to the side as if looking for something on the bookshelves. I don't know, that's why I'm asking. If this is another joke. Joke? Well, you know, everyone knows already. She got embarrassed and blushed. No, I don't. With the thumbtack on my chair, I left to get a book, and while I was looking for it, Alyssa... Zhenya stared down to the floor, tears filling her eyes. Alyssa, you bitch. No, I haven't heard about anything like that. Though if you think about it, something like that was happening in the previous times. Alyssa decided to play a prank. It's not a prank, that's assault. How dare you? How dare you hurt me, Zhenya, like that? It's just that I paid obviously no attention to it then. And Zhenya reacted differently too, I think. Alyssa, I'm gonna kill her. Get off me! The pioneer girl mumbled while buttoning her shirt, her tongue barely moving. The Cybernetics Club was bathed in the bright moonlight. On the table was lying an empty bottle with a tidy lake of vodka spilled around it. Wait, I'm so confused right now. Is this... I'm so confused. My cheek was burning in the head, and my head was spinning so hard I couldn't even understand why exactly, but hardly because of the alcohol alone. If you thought that I'm like that, then you can go to hell. The girl's fingers weren't listening to her. The button was jumping back and forth but refused to go to its prescribed place. Yeah. I lost my temper, grabbed the pioneer by the hands, pressed her against the table, and tore her shirt open with my teeth. Like what then? Like what you are then, I'm asking you. That's not a rhetorical question, answer me. I didn't want to change anything, it all suited me. I was living my accustomed life in my accustomed world doing what I wanted. Why the hell would I need this novelty? You want this, I know. To go swill vodka with a stranger 5 minutes after you meet him. Not like that, are you? To hell with all of you. Make everything how it was. I was losing control over myself, the situation, the world itself. Let go, it hurts. The girl was crying. But I was holding her firmly, and in a minute she went limp and closed her eyes, with only occasional hot and salty tears falling from them. No, see, that's much better. Now, see. My brain's just like, no! You can be a murderer, but this is going too fucking far. I was roughly feeling her up everywhere, breathing rapidly and loudly at that. Because you are mine. Because you are all mine here. This whole world is mine. But the girl wasn't resisting, and I suddenly lost interest, even felt disgust. And I don't need you. There are better ones here. I let her go and slide down the floor, exhausted. The pioneer didn't move, only continued to sob quietly. I can have any girl here. Any, you hear me? And then I'll take the meat cleaver and... You think that didn't happen before? I was shouting. You think you can tell me what to do? This is my world, you hear me? Mine. You all don't even exist. I'm talking to myself. Stop whining. I lost the last bits of control over myself, jumped up and leaned all my weight on the girl. She seemed to be close to fainting already. I bent forward and whispered into her ear. You know what I've been doing with you so many times? Want to listen? Oh no, listen now and I'll tell you. Suddenly I panicked. It'd been an infinitely long time since the very beginning, but every second of it I've been living. Was aware of myself as a person, was controlling the situation in this world and many before it. And for the first time I got a feeling that I'm disappearing, that in a moment's time I'll be gone. How can that be? It's me, don't you see? Don't you remember? You're a weakling, the girl whispered. The girl's whisper reached me as if from another world. A pathetic weakling, a nobody. I would feel pity, but you can't pity an empty place. I jumped back from her in terror. On the pioneer's face was frozen a grimace of disgust. I just hit the button again. On the pioneer's face was frozen a grimace of disgust, the tears disappearing as if they've never been there. She got up from the table, took a couple of steps toward me, and stopped. Why are you telling me all this? Zhenya asked lazily, turning a page over. Ripples were running across the water above us, or swaying the leaves of a birch, with bright beams of the tiring midday sun shining through them. The birds were singing loudly in the grove, and the small bugs hiding in the tall grass were busily jumping on my legs. Well, why are you reading that book? Don't tell me that's the first time. I like to. See, you like to narrate, and I like to read. On the other shore, on the beach, pioneers were frolicking. Olga Dmitrievna was running after Uliana, and in the middle of the river I distinguished Slavia's gold-colored head. Could she be swimming here? So what? What? What happened next? I thought you weren't interested. You are, though. Zhenya smiled. Bro, my fifis are hurt because I just, despite how much I want to punch Semyon, I also am I just want him to be happy in a nice relationship. She spat in my face and walked outside, shutting the door loudly after herself. And I was left standing there. What? This is it, the end? At some point I was waiting for it, maybe even with impatience. But it was so long ago that already I don't even remember. And what now? These dolls, these soulless dolls, destroyed my world that I've been building my whole life. Just like that, in one day's time. I ran my hand over my cheek and saw my fingers covered with something wet. The night had long descended upon the camp, hiding the local pioneers under its cover, hiding their malice and willingness. And I was just sitting in the cybernetics club, my arms folded around my knees, slowly rocking from side to side. Maybe that pioneer girl will come back now. After all, she could humiliate me much more strongly. Or even do something worse. But time was passing by, and it was only the singing of the night birds and chirping of the crickets getting quieter. And it's near dawn, too. The camp will wake up, then, and start living its life that had suddenly become so unfamiliar to me. Well, whatever, to hell with it. I got to my feet with some difficulty and looked at the empty bottle of vodka lying on the table. It would be nice to pass out now and wake up tomorrow as if nothing happened, forget about today, appear in a world I'm used to where the pioneer's behavior is familiar and predictable. And it all started with that little girl. She never cried before. Or maybe she did and I just never paid attention. Even if that's true, so what? What? Become a weakling, feel sorry for the little shit, go down to their level even? No, I have to pull myself together. I left the cybernetics club, slamming the door loudly, and breathed in the fresh night air. Strange, it didn't feel as artificial as usual. So where should I go? I guess catching up to that pioneer girl and getting revenge for the spit in the face would be worth it. I would have never forgiven such an insult before, and I won't forgive it now. There wasn't a single living soul in the square aside from a pioneer sitting on a bench. I paid no attention to him at first. Who knows how many retards dwell here, but he called out to me. Damn it, Semyon, how are you catching me off guard every time? I used to catch it and scold you for it, but now I'm here I can't read. I can't read the words. Hey, Semyon. Who the hell are you calling Semyon, damn you? I hissed under my breath. But the pioneer wasn't calming down. You must be looking for someone, but she didn't go that way. I froze in place, but immediately turned around and quickly walked up to him. So you saw her? Of course I did. A disgusting smile appeared on his face, a grin even, a savage one expressing only one superiority over their opponent. I thought you were the dark who's this now? There can only be one angsty and dark Semyon, and that has to be the one that I'm currently playing because I want to live. Spell it out then. We're not playing a guessing game here. Wait, what are you in such a rush for? Sit down, let's talk calmly for a start. I have nothing to talk to you about. The pioneer thought for a moment, then rummaged in the pockets of his shorts, took out a pack of Cosmos and held it out to me. Want some? Where did you get it? I don't remember regular pioneers having cigarettes. Although so much has happened in the last 24 hours that has never happened before. I slowly drew out one cigarette and gave the pack back to the strange pioneer. He turned it around in his hands for a while and then tossed them back to me. Nah, take it. I quit. And that filthy smile again. To hell with it, though. I need to go catch that insolent bitch. So, tell me where she went. Why do you need that poor girl? She's insignificantly small on the scale of the universe, and maybe doesn't even exist in this one. He thought for a moment, then continued. Same goes for you. Are you sure you exist? And even so, that your existence here and now is the real one? Maybe you really existed before and now you don't. Or, you'll exist in the future, and at the moment it's just a doll standing before me. The word doll fired painfully in my head, as if a .45 caliber Colt blew my brains out, splattering the contents of the brain pan over the area. Yeah, and it's Slavia's turn to clean tomorrow. I involuntarily smirked inside. Who are you? The insolent girl that spat in my face had long flown out of my head together with my brain. Who are you? I'm asking you. I grabbed him by the neckerchief and jerked him towards me with such strength that the damn red rag groaned and almost tore. But the pioneer only smiled. Calm down. Don't worry that much. It's impossible to die here. You should know. You've done that hundreds of times. I jumped back from him in terror. This phrase, I've certainly heard it before. No, not even that. I've been saying it myself. A long time ago in one of my previous lives. Because you are Semyon. And I'm Semyon because you are me and I am you. The bench and the pioneer abruptly zoomed 100 meters away from me as if I was falling from a roller coaster, only his disgusting grin remaining before my eyes. And the world around was covered in darkness. Well, and then I disappeared. And just like that. Zhenya kept her eyes fixed on the book, but the story seemed to start to interest her. Why not? The timely departure is a great skill, and I'm a master of it, if anything. Yeah, you're a master of everything. She put the book down and hugged me. Slavia, who was clearly swimming in our direction, seemed to notice it and turned around towards the beach. In the middle of the water, she's like, "Oh, they're about to be intimate. I've got to turn around." Wait, I didn't even get to the main part. And not here, after all. I shyly turned away from her. I don't want to do things in public. Zhenya clearly didn't like that and moved away from me. I'm tired of these stories of yours. They're always all one and the same. Let me tell you mine for a change. And what about, I wonder? Like how I got here, for example. I've heard it 100 times already. And I've told yours 200. For Zhenya, Semyon didn't start with our meeting and the checklist. Because I always have, and will have my first day of the session after she has already spent a week in the camp. Do you know that feeling when the time is stopped, when you can't die even if you really want to? Well, yeah. Like here in this camp? No. It was always easier for me here. People behave more honestly, properly. No one really bullies anyone. There's none of, at the very least, that malice that was everywhere then, before, do you remember? I didn't answer. I can just read books, talk to people, someone needs me, someone considers me a friend, I have responsibilities. It seemed like Zhenya was ready to burst into tears. Alright, why am I getting... Anyway. This one time I just woke up because of the excessive shaking of the 410 bus. Have you ever taken that bus? Oh my god! Was my theory from 1 year ago correct? That she's also looping? Like, I know the other girls in the harem ending talked about how they were also in the same situation, but I thought Zhenya was gonna be, like, in Semyon's route. And show more of the fact that she's not a regular pioneer, like, not this programmed individual. I nodded. Well, I never did. We don't even have bus routes with three digits in our town. I didn't really understand what had happened yet, and the girl sitting next to me says to me, "Hi, my name's Slavia." Slavia? What Slavia? Slavia who? Of course I was confused, but tried not to show it. Then we arrived at the camp and the thing started to get stirred up. And then it happened again. And then again. Zhenya sighed. And I've seen you many times, you with Slavia, Alyssa, Lena. She quietly gritted her teeth. But that wasn't me. We've been over that 100 times already, and now you're starting again. You, not you. You're all like peas in a pod. I was in your camps too, right? But she was not at all like the real me. Exactly. Distinguishing the original from the fake is not as hard as you think. Yes, because the fakes get renewed every time the originals stay. It's not like that at all. As if you know everything. What does it matter? I hugged Zhenya tight and closed my eyes. He had somebody just like him, and now he's alone again. I woke up covered in sweat, my heart beating like mad. The rising sun was unbearably hot, though it was no later than 6 or 7 a.m. by the looks of it. What the hell happened to me? The sinister pioneer, what was that? Maybe it was just a dream, a hallucination. Right now I'm ready to believe in that. In anything at all. Someone was slowly walking towards me across the square. I stared and recognized the camp leader. So you're at it again, she said threateningly, leaning over me. That made me get up from the bench and make a step back. And here I thought yesterday was just a misunderstanding, and you... I'm just speechless. To do something like that to a girl. What is she even talking about? What girl? What does she need from me, damn it? At least the camp leader looked like usual. That calmed me down a little. So, answer me now. You think you'll get away with it this time? I'll call the police. I'll even take it to the secretary of the all-union Komsomol organization. She was puffing so much she even went red and started to pant. In my camp, you. In general, this behavior from the camp leader didn't surprise me one bit, but I felt uneasy because my mind was still returning to the events of the past night, leaving a depressing, painful feeling close to embarrassment about something done while in a drunken haze. The strangest thing was that I didn't care about the camp leader shouting aloud a mere meter away from me. Shut up already, okay? Shouting like there's a fire? What do you even know about problems? You think you got a problem here? Oh, a pioneer was almost raped. What a disaster. I'd rather have Semyon be, like, super violent instead of, like, rapey. Because that's gross. I will easily accept murder. But this, absolutely not. That's what you get murdered for. Because murder doesn't have, like, emotional connection. And, like, you're dead, that's it. No torture's involved, you're just dead, that's it. I grit my teeth and cast a menacing look at the camp leader that sent a flicker of fear across her face. How would I tell you about a real problem? Not those in your little imaginary world. Though just go to hell. You're just a waste of time. On the other hand, I always have more than enough of that time. A frightful thought suddenly flashed through my head. What if everything will always be like this now? What if I lose control over this world forever? Any pioneer girl will be able to spit in my face at will, and the camp leader will get to lecture me like electronic. Well, looks like everybody needs to go. Well, that's worse than death. Anyway, I gotta go. I flung at the camp leader who still hadn't recovered from shock, and went wherever my legs could carry me. But really, what is death for me personally? It seems like I've long since ceased to understand the very concept of the idea. Because if I can't disappear, if I'm destined to live through the very same week in this damn camp time and time again, then maybe death is losing myself. Losing my power over the world. Having uncertainty ahead. But that's even worse than the fate of any regular human. Your life is a game with an unhappy ending and with no ability to save your progress. My life is a game with no ending with the ability to save. What would they call such a life? If only I could remember how it is to be a regular man. They would probably call this hell. And this particular cycle, where even the soulless dolls humiliate me, is its last circle. I was ready to lose my mind if only I could. All the thoughts I'd been diligently driving away from myself suddenly surged with a new strength, returning long-forgotten feelings. And who turned out to be right in the end? I was always convincing myself that I am right, not them, because I am alive and they disappeared while chasing empty illusions. But they disappeared and I stayed. And who got the better part of it in the end? An already familiar snicker sounded nearby. Looks like you've understood something today. I know who you are. My voice sounded calm but my heart was beating madly like never before. Oh really? It'd be interesting to hear. You're the same as me, a pioneer, but from another cycle. But didn't you always think that the others were no more after Semyon drove off on the bus that time? You thought that you were alone now in all these endless camps? I could be wrong. As hard as it was for me to admit it, that possibility existed. You? Wrong? Why, that cannot be. Whatever. What do you need? Did you just come to mock me for what I've been doing before? You're saying that as if you feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. And anyway, that's none of your business. Just answer the question. Well, maybe you're right. The pioneer thought for a moment. Though it's a sin to laugh at the miserable. I suddenly felt a distinct desire to punch that disgusting smile off his face. After all, am I a trembling creature, or do I have the right? Who allowed him to impose his ways in my world? Get lost. I shouted, jumped up and swung my fist at him as hard as I could. But my hand just flew through a haze that disappeared in the air and I lost my balance, painfully falling to the ground. When the pain abated a bit, I felt as if someone was standing nearby. And indeed, from the bushes was peeping a sassy little pioneer girl. You got what you deserved. She stuck her tongue out. Guess you're not as brave with your peers. Oh, you. It was so unexpected that I even forgot what I wanted to say. Doesn't it surprise you at all that a man just dissolved into thin air right in front of you? Well, things happen. Maybe it's some trick. Doesn't matter anyways, you got what you had coming.
Is those meat hooks still... Is that still an option?
Not wanting to put up with these insults any longer, I abruptly jumped up and rushed at her. But the girl was skillfully running through the trees while I had to spend precious seconds dodging the branches that slashed at my face. Hillocks sticking out as well as invisible gullies. Earning a couple bumps and scratching my hands bloody, I finally caught her at the square. What, not so fast after all, are you? It's not as easy as running from some half-wits. Let me go, get off! The pioneer girl was crying. Oh shit, what just happened? Suddenly I felt a strong blow to my back. Everything swam before my eyes and the ground came at me with tremendous speed. Aw, man, Semyon. Getting your ass kicked. So you're into children too? Who's this? Is this Slavia? I don't remember their colors. That's it, get him. You're supposed to be experienced at this, Semyon. You're getting your ass kicked. A blow to the belly. I instinctively covered my head with my arms. Not so cool now, are you? Another hit. By that point I was ready to lose consciousness, but gathering the last bits of strength, raised myself onto my elbows and rolled several meters to the side. Blood was flowing into my eyes, turning the crowd of pioneers beating me up into a continuous red haze. This is, of course, not the best educational method, but quite an effective one, I think. From who the hell knows where came the camp leader's voice. What are you doing? Enough! Should have strengthened them when you had the chance, but you didn't. Did you read Don Quixote? Zhenya was sitting near me, merrily swinging her feet. Yeah, but I hardly remember what it was about by now. Windmills. All of your stories are like fights with windmills. What mills, please? And even if there is no mill, you will surely build one because you just have to fight something. You're saying that as if I'm some kind of masochist. Aren't you?
No.
She smiled slyly. Zhenya, what would I do without her? Sometimes I murdered people. Sometimes I thought that everything that's happened with me in this camp wasn't that bad if this reward was waiting for me at the end. I pulled her to myself and kissed her. Wait, what if someone sees? Zhenya blushed and resisted, but more for show if anything. It doesn't concern you often. No, but... Anyway, where was I? The windmills? Yeah, I mean no. I meant that you still can't settle down. Like if you had ridden that bus that time like all the normal people. And wouldn't have met you. As if you'd be meeting me before. Always Slavia Lissalina, she griped. See, that means I've done everything right. To hell with you, alpha male with a hair on my foot. Let's stop talking about the past. We've got a whole life ahead of us.
But it was a lie. In the end, all I did was murder a bunch because I was bored, and then get beaten up because things changed. Who is this? Blue? Is this blue or purple? I don't know. Hey, you alive? Poke, poke.
The cold water splashed onto my face, and with difficulty I managed to open my bunged up eye.
Oh. Somebody, it's a different one.
Over me was leaning a pioneer. You again. What? They didn't finish me off and you decide to help? Well, go ahead then, get on with it. Somewhere deep inside, I was even happy for such a turn of events. Finally, this broken, vicious cycle will be torn apart. No. You don't understand, I'm not him.
I'm nicer, excuse you? I just hang out in the woods, because there's nothing to do.
Who are you then? I didn't care already. It would be so nice to die now, end this loop, and go on to a new one.
Take up the knife again.
I guess never before did I want so hard for the endless cycles of my life to continue. The only important thing is for them to obey the long-established rules. Don't you understand? The pioneer said with anguish. No, I don't play these games anymore. Really, did they decide to place me in the shoes of that idiot? Is this some kind of game and I'm a green noob for them? Not my server. And anyway, I don't care. I tried to get up, but the pain made me just moan and lean against the nearby trunk. Although, if I'll have to spend 5.5 more days in this damn loop, I'll obviously have to make certain compromises. Okay, I don't care who you are or why you're here, but if you really want to help, I won't refuse. If he really is the one he wants to look like, then I can accept help from him. Yeah, of course. Bring me something to drink then. The pioneer quickly jumped up and disappeared behind the trees. Did he run to the canteen? What a dumbass.
I heard that.
The time was dragging treacherously slowly. I lost the phone, either during the fight or even before that, so I couldn't tell how much time passed since the moment the pioneer ran for water. But in any case, he should have been back already. Oh no, he got beat up too. My injuries were hurting unbearably. It seemed like I was starting to get a fever. Could that be an infection? I could simply die. Oh, please! They could at least have beaten me to death. Rude. God, if you're gonna beat me, at least beat me to death. But no, I have to lie here and wait for the end in agony. Just you wait. Next time I'll show you all. I'm gonna set this entire camp ablaze. The fear of death ceased to exist for me simply because one can only fear something that scares him. And I've died quite a few times, so... No, it gets stale. In my case, death would be salvation. Though I could hardly believe that. More likely the next time everything will repeat itself, which means I'll have to struggle, have to fight for myself, for my life. Same as the first times. To do everything to not become a whiner and a snot-nose like that one. Barely managing to get up on my feet, I stumbled towards the camp. It was getting dark. I should have probably asked the pioneer what happened after I lost consciousness during the beating at the square. Maybe they're looking for me. Or they think I'm already dead. In any case, I should be careful. Right now, the various skills obtained during the time spent in all these endless loops would be useful. But a one-handed, one-legged cripple hardly makes a good fighter. At first glance, the square looked empty. No pioneers, no birds, none of the squirrels that plentifully inhabited the forest around the camp. Only crickets. Those horrible, horrible crickets. And the air was ringing with a dangerous silence like the lull before a fight, or like a minefield bypassed by both people and beasts. Take a step and you'll be blown into pieces. If only it was really so easy. But I can't just stand and wait. I have to get to the infirmary, wash and bandage my wounds, drink a painkiller and antibiotics. The first steps through the square were difficult to take, more because of the oppressive tension than my battle wounds. I somehow dragged myself to the end of it, walked along the narrow pathway, reached the infirmary, and had already started to mess with the lock when I suddenly heard a familiar rustle in the bushes nearby. Certainly that is not a beast or bird, that's a human. Though I understood well that the rampaging pioneers won't hide themselves, they act openly now. I don't know who's hiding there, but you'd better get out, or else. Or else what? In this condition I can hardly even pose more of a threat than that arrogant little girl. It's just me. The shy pioneer almost whispered, coming out of her cover. Oh, it's you. I asked sarcastically. Alone? And where are the others? Though yes, you alone will be sufficient. Just finish me off already, so I don't have to frickin' deal with this lock. No, I can go if I'm disturbing you. Stay. Things can't get any worse anyway. I was vainly messing with the lock. Of course, it wasn't hard for me to pick it with even a toothpick or match, but for that I needed healthy fingers, while mine were all covered with hematomas and bruises, their every second joint dislocated. Ow! No! My piano career! It's over! The most complicated action I'm capable of now is holding a pioneer flag and idly swinging it over my head. A dumb pastime on its own, but the local pioneers can make me do worse. Maybe I can help? How? With moral support? I've got a... She stopped mid-sentence and held out a bunch of keys to me. How? Yes, I didn't expect something like this, but wasn't really surprised. I had other things on my mind. I took them from Slavia. Just like that? You want to tell me she gave them to you without even asking why you needed them? Well, I said I don't feel well, and didn't want to bother her, so I could go to the infirmary by myself. Yeah, great pretext. Slyness, archness, and pretense. They say that behind every strong man stands a strong woman. I remembered the second pack of Cosmos that the pioneer gifted to me. The cigarettes turned out to be considerably crumpled, but I still managed to find a couple of intact ones. I mean, I'm pretty sure that hasn't stopped other people. You straighten it out a little bit, kind of fix it, and then... It's perfect. Okay, the keys will really be useful. How smart of you. Thank you. The girl smiled almost unnoticeably. What if she really isn't hiding a knife behind her back? Squint suspiciously. Where are these thoughts even coming from, though? Presumption of innocence had never worked in this world so far, and especially now deeming everyone around to be hostile. Everyone around to be hostile. What would the most correct thing to do? I don't know what that word is. I carefully looked at the girl up and down. What? Is there something wrong with me? I just don't even know. You better tell me. Is everything right with you or not? I don't understand. The pioneer girl was clearly embarrassed and upset. Oh well, while she's at least pretending to be good, I should use it. It'll be hard to bandage all my wounds by myself with unbending arms. Don't mind it, if you really want to help. The infirmary was brightly illuminated by the fluorescent lamps hanging from the ceiling. With some difficulty, I clambered onto the couch and tried to take off my shirt. Let me help. Okay, go on. At the right and the left sides around my belly were reddening, terrible-looking patches of bruises. I must have broken several ribs, or maybe it's the other way around and only a few of them remained unbroken. Every movement echoed with pain inside. Ugh, can't you be more careful? Sorry. The pioneer started to undress me zealously even. Finally, I was left with only my shorts. Oh, wait. We have to wipe the wounds with iodine, disinfect them. Yeah, sure. So I would look like a brown bear? No thanks. Let's do it with hydrogen peroxide. It's in the desk drawer. The pioneer didn't argue. Though hydrogen peroxide or iodine still stings the same. I had to make an inhuman effort not to shout out loud. Does it hurt? What do you think? I hissed through clenched teeth. Then the pioneer started to bandage me. Every time she had to grab the bondage on the other side, she was almost pressing herself against me. Here. Lena said with a feeling of duty well done. She's overreacting, the thought flashed in my head. Yeah, that's better. Not that I really felt better. Rather, it was just more certain that I'll be almost healed no later than tomorrow. But that will be tomorrow. I tried to get up to walk to the drug cabinet, but my head suddenly started spinning and I had to sit on the couch again. Get me allergen and all that. Did I really forget the contents of the local medicine chest? I raised a hand to my forehead. It was hot. Something for the tetanus, I don't know, it's written there in the instructions. The girl bustled about and soon returned with a pile of multicolored pills. What's that? Like you asked. I was taking a risk, of course, but it clearly couldn't get any worse. And water to wash it down. I swallowed the pills and barely managed to stretch myself out on the couch. The pioneer girl sat on the chair nearby and started to look at me patiently. What does she need after all? The suspense was tiring. I just wanted to sleep, to drift off and forget about this mad world for at least some time. Or better yet, wake up in another one. Let them end what they've begun and finish me off. Or this shy girl. And how long are you planning on sitting here? If I'm disturbing you, I can leave. No, you're not. Suddenly in my head appeared a wild but not senseless idea. You can even help. The girl gave me an inquiring look. Take that jar, see? I barely raised a hand and pointed at the needed medicine. Now draw a full syringe from it. You mean you're serious about it? Zenya's face was burning and her voice sounded not even surprised, scared. Quite. No, you must really be out of your mind. What's the big deal? Even in the worst case, the new loop is in a couple of days. No one will even remember about it. I will, that's enough already. So your answer's no? My answer is stop bullying me. She tried to get up, but I firmly caught her by the hands. Hey! Instead of trying to break free, Zhenya laughed and pressed herself against me. Are you really not joking? What if we do get out of here after all? You haven't talked about that for a while. I haven't, but I am now. If in the real world you expect to just forget and pretend you haven't said anything now, then... No, both here and in the real world my words are sincere. Even so. It's just hard to believe, so suddenly. What's sudden about it? How long have we known each other? I've long since lost count of the loops. I'm still counting, though. Zhenya said quietly and hugged me even tighter. I just want them to be happy. The girl obediently filled the syringe with a colorless, transparent liquid and handed it to me. No. When did you ever see a patient giving himself injections? But I don't know how to. There's nothing difficult about it. It's just that for me in this world there was still the one and only taboo, suicide. I was ready and even wanted to die at the hands of the mad pioneers or a lethal injection, but ending my own life. For some reason it seemed that I shouldn't. I couldn't even explain why and never tried to check. Maybe it was all because of that fear of uncertainty that had possessed me in the past 24 hours, or maybe it's all much simpler and the reason is the simple self-preservation instinct. Regardless, I was sure that if I'm killed by someone else, I'll immediately wake up in a new loop, but ready for everything now. The only problem was the fact that this girl clearly wasn't going to help me with my voluntary quietus. No, What if I do something wrong? It's better to call the nurse. I'll go. I'll be back soon. The nurse was the last thing I damn well needed here right now. Wait. I barely raised myself up on an elbow and grabbed her by the hand. Don't you worry. I've done it 100 times and I'll teach you too. There's nothing difficult about it. The girl wavered. First, take the tourniquet. Wait, what? Why would she need a tourniquet? It's used when taking blood. Okay, don't take the tourniquet. The pioneer girl laid the tourniquet on the table near me. I moved my left hand to the side to make it more convenient for her. Maybe we shouldn't after all. I won't even feel anything. Her hands were shaking, the needle jumping left and right. If she misses the vein, it won't be pretty. Euthanasia through the drugs from a Soviet medical kit is a precarious pleasure as is. Don't look at me like that, the girl suddenly said. I'm looking at you how? Don't get distracted. I can't do it like this. Here we go. I made a helpless sign and jerked my hand away from her. Okay, forget it. I'll just sleep and be alright tomorrow. Don't forget to turn the lights off and close the door when you leave. The girl obediently headed towards the exit but froze halfway. Are you really in a lot of pain? I really am. What does it matter now? I'll just endure it. I could do it. Only if you close your eyes. So if I close them, what will change? I just don't like it when you look at me. It makes me nervous. It'll be easier for me, like you're sleeping. Her eyes smiled. Okay, I'll close them. Doesn't seem to be anything scary. The girl walked up to me and took the syringe. So? Yes. I'm just like, she's gonna stab me in the face. I closed my eyes and at the same second a thought flashed through my brain. Why am I even trusting her so blindly? Just half an hour ago when standing on the porch I was thinking very differently. Something pressed me to the couch with a strength that made me unable to move my arms or legs. This bitch. Joke's on you, stupid bitch! I wanted you to inject me! The pioneer girl with the tourniquet in her hands leaned over me. A second later it tightened around my neck. You stupid idiot! You absolute buffoon! I wanted you to kill me! You walked straight into my plan! What are you? I wheezed. Even if this is the death I was urging her for, it shouldn't be like this, not being strangled with a tourniquet. No, wait, I'm not ready. You're never ready. Shut up, Semyon. The pioneer was pulling ever harder, a mad grimace on her face, mouth grinning a devilish smile, sunken eyes open wide and even seeming to glow with some unnatural light. I vainly tried to break free. The injuries and fatigue didn't let me. Joke's on you. Here comes the anoxemia. Everything's getting blurry in front of my eyes. I close them, but the imprint of the crazy grimace is still left on the inner side of my eyelids. At the edge of my mind, I hear the creak of the opening door. The devilish pioneer loosens her grip, and then the face of another girl is already leaning over me. Let's go, now. The familiar voice whispers to me. Someone helped me get up. I leaned on them and stumbled away from the infirmary. No! You freaking idiot! I was trying to die. You ruined everything. We were going slowly, often stumbling and bumping into everything. I was passing out and coming to all the time, but just couldn't raise my head and was only looking at my feet. The paving stone in front of the infirmary gave way to the asphalt of the square, and then it to earth covered by fallen leaves and fir needles. At last we stopped, and with difficulty I sank to the ground and looked around. Seems like the same clearing the pioneer dragged me to. I'm walking in some hellish circles today. I tried to smirk but coughed immediately. The back of my hand got covered in blood. Here, drink. The girl handed me a cold flask. I barely took several gulps and looked at my savior. She seemed to be the same familiar girl, but something was out of tune with her usual image. After all, a smile suited this pioneer girl more than the expression of cold determination that was frozen on her face. I didn't even really know what to say.
Hey, weren't you one of the people who said for them to kick me? Why are you even helping me? You ruined everything.
I've already been mistaken once, but about that maniac in the infirmary, and let myself relax for a second. Now I'm going to have to be wary till the end this time. Though the unbearable pain in my whole body and my spinning head didn't let me concentrate even for a moment. What's all this then? Shh. No need to talk. You'll get worse. I know it all. The girl said and looked at me carefully, as if, contrary to her own words, she was waiting for an answer. I know everything about you. I'm actually also real. How the damn hell are you real? We already met yesterday. I haven't noticed anything real about you. I coughed up blood again. Is this one of your jokes again? I continued quieter. You can't just kill me, you can't, right? You have to torture to mock me, want me to go mad? And then I realized that all of this had already happened once, though now our roles were swapped. No, it's not like that at all. You got it wrong. You weren't talking to me yesterday. Oh, why am I explaining? It's like you don't understand yourself. The pioneer girl frowned. Didn't you ever meet your own copies? There definitely was logic in her words that I couldn't find a flaw in right away. Well, maybe. And why do you need all this to help me, I mean? Because you're the same as me, real. Isn't it natural? Wouldn't you do the same in my place? If only she knew what I've done before. Well, what if she isn't lying? After all, I did meet people other than me in this world before. Thanks, if so. The girl didn't answer anything, only smiled. But I still don't understand. How did you... I met you 1,000 times before, and all of them were bots.
We're NPCs.
It's hard to explain. There's no time now. No time? Are you in a hurry for something? Not only me. Soon we will all escape here. You mean from this loop to a new one? No, I mean from this camp for good. What do you mean? I broke into a dumb smile. The very thought of there being an exit from this place had seemed absurd to me for a long time. Don't tell me you want to stay here forever. Well, I've kind of been here forever already. I propose you reject, okay? No, wait, you just got me wrong. Though why wrong, actually? Am I really ready to go back to the real world? It's alien and hostile to me now, as this camp has become my home. But that home lies in ruins, robbed and burnt. Will I be able to build it anew? Yeah? So, what do you want then? Okay, but how? You don't propose I just take your word for it, right? If you really understand my situation, you won't refuse to explain. Fine, but not now. We have to make sure there's no pursuit. Wait. But the pioneer wasn't listening to me, and a second later she disappeared in the vivid greenery.
No, just like the other pioneer. The Navy pioneer, he disappeared to go get me water, and then he never came back.
Just wonderful. But I can't sew. What a pity. Serious oversight. I keep doing that. A serious oversight on our housekeeper's side. Well, look who's talking. What are you going to make the rings from? Are you maybe planning on just reeling the wire of the induction coil around your finger? I got a couple of ideas while I'm listening. Sorry, Zhenya. I'm getting confused. You've had so many accents. Zhenya looked at me carefully and smiled, anticipating my failure. However, even before I met her, I had acquired some very different skills, and crafting together a couple of rings wouldn't be very hard for me. The only question is the equipment. I can't find a jeweler's instruments in a camp, so I simply wouldn't have had time to prepare everything in a mere week. If not for the Cybernetics Club. If you rummage through the bulk of the equipment stored there, you could definitely find enough gilding for 2 simple rings. And keeping the local cyberneticists occupied with something for a couple of days will certainly not be a problem, especially considering it's not the first time for me. That's a surprise. Even so, Zhenya got embarrassed. In a week's time, they'll disappear. You know we won't be able to take anything with us. So what? What's more important to you, 2 pieces of metal, or... No, of course not. But if we're going to do it the way it should be, then the dress too. Zenya's eyes sparkled. There were no problems with the suit. I knew for sure that several guys in the camp had pants and a jacket, maybe even of a dark gray color. A summer dress would look good on Zhenya, but the wedding dress was her idea in the end, which she predictably rejected right away. Use tool. Are you serious? Looks like she got tired of arguing already. No, but you can always ask one of the girls. I think that's the best option. Zhenya grew red, pouted, and turned away. Then go and ask them yourself, and take measurements of yourself, because you'll be the one wearing it. How do you even imagine I could do that? I'll just walk up to, say, Slavia and ask, could you please sew a wedding dress for me? How about you say that it's for a costume contest? No, that's kind of silly. For a costume ball. Zhenya was surprised but didn't start arguing right away. I'll get the idea through the camp leader, don't worry. And there will be nothing to be shy about. A wedding as part of the performance. We'll ask Shurik and Electronic to perform Man's first walk in outer space. Miku will cosplay Lenin on an armored car. And me and you will marry. And what historical event do you want to make this a reenactment of? Every single wedding that has ever happened. God, what does it matter? Could even be the marriage of Ekaterina II and Peter the Third. Oh, what an unenviable fate is waiting for you then, darling. Zhenya smirked. No matter, it's just an example. See, you're joking already. Still, that's somehow... Trust me. Okay, if you think it'll all work out. It started to dawn. The fever made its presence known and seemed to get even stronger. Apparently the real pioneer girl got lost somewhere in the forest. Looks like I've been ditched again. Though I wasn't too hopeful this time, I just wanted to get everything back the way it was, not come back to reality. Maybe it's only been an hour on the other side, maybe centuries, it doesn't matter anymore. I felt like a comatose man who wakes up and can't recognize the world around him. The horizon was burning with a bright scarlet glow, showering the sky with a flaming aurora. What if it wasn't just the inhabitants that had changed in this world? In a mere few minutes, the beams of the blazing sun will get here and burn me up, together with this whole damn Soviet. I wish the real pioneer girl would come back. It's better to settle in a new world than burn alive in a familiar one. More so because nobody there will know about everything that happened with me here. About everything I did myself. Hey, I'm back! You seem to be in deep thought about something. A familiar voice sounded nearby. My voice. What do you want? I was surprised by his appearance and even scared a bit. I had enough problems with the maddened pioneers and had stopped even thinking about my doubles. Although, my doubles? How long has it been since I called them that? Right. For me, there was always me, and there were them. We have nothing in common. We are different people. Even if we were one at some point. Maybe you're thinking, when did it all go wrong? Here he was mistaken. I wasn't thinking about that. Tormenting yourself with doubts, asking yourself questions you'll never find answers to. I just want this all to be over, and your presence is hardly helping with that. Everything's long over, if you mean it that way. Oh, really? That's not particularly noticeable. For everyone but you, that day in the bus you made the wrong decision and died. I looked over my body carefully. It hurts, which means I'm alive. I don't look much like a dead man. You think it's really all that simple? That movie-like? Do you want to remember the moment when the life left you? Remember your last breath? The point of transition? The first moments on the new level of existence? I don't really get you. Then that means I've already died then in reality. No. You've been given a chance, but you didn't use it and ended up in your own personal hell. Limbo, if you wish. Oh, look at you, reinventing the wheel as if I didn't know that. You knew that, but you didn't know that you're alone here now, and there's no exit. I knew that. Or at least I'd assume so. So what about you then? I'm not here. I'm just your hallucination. The forest resounded with his disgusting laughter. This is all painfully familiar, but why is it repeating itself now? Is it true when they say that troubles never come singly? Be my guest. Ugh. I have the most annoying hallucination. I closed my eyes and even turned away just to be sure. Don't treat him like that. He's one of us too, or at least he was once. The familiar voice sounded a bit different. Ah! There's two of them! Which one do I shoot? Now 2 pioneers were standing in the clearing in front of me. You have to fight fire with fire. He's already been through enough fighting. I wouldn't say it's enough yet. They were arguing and the reality lost all meaning to me. Look, he's lost his mind for good already. That's nothing special. That'll pass. Like in the story that we told Uliana, signed with the name of a non-existent friend. The mad regain their sanity and the sane go mad. And then that devilish, horsey laughter again. You think this is his first time? Isn't it? I know for sure that it isn't. He thinks he remembers everything. He's ready for everything. He knows the behavior of every pioneer beforehand. But he forgot so much. Maybe he forgot the most important thing. Enough already. The two suddenly stepped aside and the cat-eared one came forward. I was always kind of wary of her because I thought that there was nothing good to expect from her. Moreover, somewhere deep inside of me she caused some kind of animalistic primal fear, like the fear of the dark. And I never believed her stories either. Like, that she's our subconsciousness, its hidden part. My subconsciousness or / hidden part wouldn't be a freaking cat girl, what nonsense. Don't you see how bad off he is? You're no use, like you. She pointed her finger at the evil pioneer. Hurry to the infirmary for pills. What pills? He was a bit startled. I don't know. Aren't you the smartest one here? Figure it out. The pioneer sighed helplessly and dragged himself in the direction of the camp. And you? She looked at the good one. And you? Well, find something to do. Honestly, your whining is sickening. It only makes things worse. Okay, but I only wanted to help. But you're not helping, so go. She waved her hand and made an expression that made a thought flash through my head, just like a grumpy cat. The pioneer didn't argue and followed his double. So what now? I asked without much enthusiasm. I've been tricked more than once, and I'm not going to believe her now. Especially her, stupid cat. I would never have thought that of all the local inhabitants it would be the cat-eared one to come to help me. Even if only in words, after all she remembers the previous times, remembers our quarrel on the bus. You think you'll be able to make an idiot of me again? Gathering the last bits of strength, I raised myself, my eyes darkening from pain. Where will I go? I should have taken the syringe myself. Why didn't I even decide that a suicide here is the end? Hey! The cat-eared one jumped to my side with one leap and held me so I wouldn't fall. You. Do you really want me to believe you're helping me? And what do you think I'm doing now? After all, I always help you all. Yeah, sure. I sank onto the ground again and let out a heavy sigh. There's really nowhere for me to go in this condition. So, when will your pioneers return? Soon? She answered vaguely. Okay, let's sit. Let's wait. I've got nothing to lose anymore. It's not like I can really go that far anyways. The whole camp gathered at the square. Uliana was chasing Electronic in a vain attempt to take away his very crumpled cardboard cosmonaut helmet. The scene of the man's first walk into open space was not without some amusing incidents. Genda's monument served as an improvised rocket for the cybernetics, and Shurik managed to trip and fall from it at the most crucial moment. It's a good thing that the distance to the ground was significantly shorter than the near-Earth orbit, and it met him like in the song, with the grassier home. Stop running. You'll kill yourself for good. Olga Dmitrievna was wailing. I'm not even sure what concerned her more in this situation, the cyberneticist or the image of the camp that had no accidents 365 days a year since the beginning of time. Zhenya was standing near and tugging on my sleeve, but I was too carried away with the spectacle and didn't notice right away. So? What? Are you sure we should be doing this? Wish you wanted this yourself. I didn't want anything. You just suggested, and I agreed. We've discussed this 100 times already, and you know full well that it's not for real. Oh, so it's not for real, huh?
What do you want from me?
She said dreadfully. That's not what I mean. We're just in this world, don't forget it. In a couple of days, everything will repeat itself and no one will remember this. Yes, but I will. So who are you embarrassed by the most? Those around you or yourself? Zhenya blushed and said nothing. Okay, go change already. Olga Dmitrievna commanded us. Ready? Zhenya nodded.
They even got fake married. Oh my god, they got fake married and he has to suffer.
10 minutes later, a strange sight for a regular pioneer camp could be seen at the square. Oh, what am I saying? It was strange even for Semyon. And I felt strange too, standing in the middle of the crowd of pioneers in an old Soviet costume off someone else's back. Not a formal tailcoat, of course, but still better than shorts and a short-sleeved shirt. Whereas Zhenya was apparelled in the hastily cut semblance I was trying to say semblance of a wedding dress. In another situation I say she looks foolish, but not now. Now this dress seemed to me more beautiful than any attire from the pompous fashion shops. So what scene are you playing now? I forgot. The camp leader whispered in my ear. Olga Dmitrievna, what does it matter already? Let's start. Okay. Zhenya was standing as red as a lobster, not knowing where to put her eyes. She seemed now to strongly want to look at me. Everything will be alright, I said quietly. Miku was merrily smiling in the crowd of pioneers as if this was her own wedding, a bit foolishly maybe, but sincerely. Lena was blushing as usual, but sometimes casting careful glances at us. Alyssa's whole look was saying that she'd been dragged here against her will and she would have been playing the guitar or just sleeping if only she could. Though Uliana clearly thrilled with the whole spectacle, children don't need much to be happy. As for Slavia, she seemed to be really happy for us and smiled kindly. Let's get this over with already. Looked like any more and Zhenya will be embarrassed to death. Okay. We're ready. I nodded to the camp leader. Now I had to say what they usually say at weddings. Of course I didn't know the exact words and managed to safely forget everything I prepared beforehand. I promise. I started, my voice shaking. In sickness and oldness. No, that's not how it was. What are you mumbling? We can't hear anything, Uliana merrily shouted. Be quiet, or we'll put you in Zenya's place. The threat had an immediate effect and Uliana fell silent. Fell asleep. Well, that's... Just a moment ago, I could have sworn I was absolutely calm and now I couldn't say a word. I could only guess what Zhenya was feeling. I gathered my courage. I promised to be with you for better and for worse, for richer and for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. The pioneers, joyfully clamoring until now, stopped talking immediately. It got so quiet I could hear my heart beating furiously. Zhenya was still standing, her eyes dropped to the ground. Well, now you. She pumped air into her lungs and pattered. Agree to marry you, promise to be with you, sickness and for poorer, here. The crowd exploded with laughter. Though for me, Zenya's words sounded quite serious. And get it over with already. And what about now you can kiss the bride? I asked with a playful tone. Zenya's eyes sparkled, making it clear that the situation was good enough, even without kisses. I guess she's right, and we'll have time for that anyway. Wink. Good job, thanks everyone. Olga the metronome was shouting. Electronic came forward with a camera. He looked as if he would be much happier having a crowbar in his hand instead. For what? What would you need a crowbar for, especially when you're doing the cybernetic stuff? A couple of shots to remember. Hell no. Zhenya bawled at them. Come on, for the family album. She hesitated a little, but gave the semblance of a smile after all. I just noticed that her cowlick is going through the veil. It all turned out as it should be, better than it should be. For the first time in all this time, Zhenya looked at me right in the eye, smiled, and said, Yes, I guess. I woke up when the day was already drawing to a close. The fever had abated, and I found an injection mark on my right hand. Did the cat-eared one really help me? At first I couldn't even believe there's someone here capable of a kind deed after all that's happened in the last few days. With some difficulty I got up and headed towards the camp. After all, I definitely have nothing to do in the forest, and it doesn't look like it can get any worse. Time and again, a thought was appearing in my head. I have to endure. I have to live through this week, and then it'll be easier. I'll recover physically, and there will even be some time to recover mentally. Just don't despair, don't give up, don't be like him. I'd rather die than live like that. Which him is he talking about? Because I thought he was talking about the Semyon that got away, but now I'm kind of confused. Pioneers with backpacks, bags, and parcels were scampering back and forth through the square. The camp leader was standing near Genda like a small monument, arms akimbo, and shouting formidably. I froze on the spot, not knowing what to expect. This world is in continuous motion. It changes before my eyes. Just yesterday they were ready to kill me, and what about today? Hey, Semyon! The camp leader shouted and looked at me intimidatingly. Who, me? Are you addressing me? Why aren't you packed yet? Packed up? I'm ready to be packed off. Today's the last day of the session. Did you forget again? Packing up. Off you go. I didn't want to argue with her. I just didn't have the strength. Then I stopped being surprised a long time ago, so I just flung out. Is it okay that I look like this? And pointed at my torn clothes and the bruises all over me. What happened to you? The camp leader sincerely wondered. Were you running through the forest and fell? What the hell are you talking about? What forest? Why would I even need to run through the forest? You and those bastards beat me up! Okay, it's not my business. We're leaving in half an hour. If you're late again, you'll stay for another session. She smirked. Stay here for another session. No, this definitely lies outside of my plans. Anyways, a new chance to get out of here appeared, even if in such a dumb way. I slowly dragged myself towards the bus stop. The whole camp crowded in front of the bus. Everyone's waiting for the camp leader. After all, following rules contradicts her own rules. What happened to you? The pioneer from the infirmary inquired maternally. Are you alright? Need a bandage? I stop at that, offer me a splint. Must have fallen in a ditch and cried his eyes out. Sure, look who's talking. What if wolves got him? Only if those wolves were the local pioneers. I was just sitting quietly on the roadside, my head lowered onto my hands. I didn't even want to think about what will happen tomorrow, whether I will get into a new loop or it will all end once and for all. Or maybe there's something else waiting for me ahead, something better. When I woke up, Zhenya wasn't nearby. Must have gone to take care of some personal business. God, why does she need this whole pioneer game? Is that a triangular pillow? What the heck? Especially on the wedding night. I stretched myself and yawned with pleasure. Oh well, at least I can surprise her, pick some flowers in the forest. Not much of a gift, but I know she likes May lilies. I can never understand why women like flowers. Why not nettles or hogweed then? Those are plants too, and they're nice in their habitats, not pots or vases. Though what does it matter if every time I gifted flowers to Zhenya, her face lit up with a bright smile? Of course it might have been not because of the flowers alone. With a bouquet in my hands, I filed into the library, loudly throwing the door open. Behind the librarian's table was sitting Alyssa, looking gloomy and leafing through some magazine. Oh, the newlyweds has shown up, she muttered, looking at me sullenly. Hey, where's Zhenya? Dunno. Asked me to sit here for her and went somewhere herself. Well, yes, my Zhenya can even persuade Alyssa. Okay, then I'll... And somehow she wasn't glowing with happiness at all. Alyssa said to my back. Where did Zhenya go? Maybe she decided to make me a surprise gift too? No, surprises are not her thing. It must simply be time for breakfast. I ran to the canteen. The pioneers were merrily clamoring inside. The dishes were clattering in the same merry manner. Even the usually gloomed lady cook looked unusually merry today. I noticed Slavia and walked up to her. Hi, have you seen Zhenya? Slavia looked at me with surprise and got embarrassed and turned her eyes away. I think she went to the bus stop. The bus stop? Why? I don't know. You better ask her yourself. You'll make it if you hurry. To the bus stop? To the bus stop. In a minute I ran past the camp gates and saw Zhenya standing at the road, her gaze directed somewhere far away to the horizon, past the plains and the forest, following the bright summer sun. A strange expression was on her face, sadness, anticipation, and anguish mixed together, but at the same time Zhenya looked so very different. I didn't recognize her. Better? No, I can believe this even less than the fact that tomorrow I'll return to the real world. Maybe it was better before. It seems like the pioneer was saying that I forgot a lot. But what exactly? No, I'm already sad at the thought that she's unhappy. Hey, I was looking for you. That sounded silly and my voice was trembling. I just had to say something, so I put on a fake smile and tried to talk in a friendly manner. What do you want? Zhenya responded coldly. I woke up and you were gone, so... Zhenya turned around with her eyes shining. I'm going, she said with a calm voice. Where? Home. But buses don't come here. Buses? What the heck? They do. Here, I made this for you. I handed her a bouquet which instantly ended up on the ground.
And then I cried, and that's when you can hear my heart shatter.
I don't need anything from you. Yesterday. I don't want to know you. I don't know what happened, but I'm sure it was all your fault. What was my fault? Everything. The stupid marriage and what happened during the night. But we agreed. You wanted this yourself. Remember, a couple weeks ago? I didn't even know you a couple weeks ago.
And that's when you heard my heart shatter for a second time.
Yeah, it all started back then. Or continued, I don't care anymore. I decided that I could be happy with Zhenya, but she disappeared just as she appeared suddenly. Zhenya sitting not in the library, but at the canteen porch. It was so long ago. I lost my faith once. I stopped being human, but then I met her, and it almost seemed like life was giving me a second chance, albeit in this strange world. But then she was gone, and during the endless cycles I forgot everything, and I went back to how I was before I met her. I stopped being myself. Maybe he was right. What are you saying? We've known each other for... I don't even know how long we've known each other for. I don't know you, and I don't want to know you. But wait, Suddenly weakness hit me and I dropped to my knees just to avoid falling on my face.
Everything she says is friggin' tearing the constant layers of my heart. I'm pretty sure that this Zhenya is one of the NPC ones. It still hurts because it's her. And Semyon just had a wedding and now it's ruined.
My ring felt very hot on my finger. I could feel the burning, almost physically. Here, take it. Zhenya took something out of her pocket and threw it at me. I'm going for a walk. I twisted the thin engagement ring in my hand and started crying. I've never cried like this before. Not in this world, not in the previous one.
No wonder he was such a heartless murderer, because his fucking heart was broken into a billion tiny shards.
And everything ended. Forever. I guess something human remained in me, so I decided to forget everything, so as to not completely go insane. But now all my memories were here, and with them came the pain. It wasn't that bad. It had slowly weakened through time, but it was still tearing me apart. Almost as if I was being torn to pieces, and the only piece remaining was the one with my consciousness somehow in it. Not one, not half, only a sad coincidence, an acceptable error in the perfect equation of this world. Don't be so sad, bro. Some pioneer was sitting next to me. You again?
Who, me?
What difference does it make? You, him, that one, this one, you all look alike. He didn't respond. He just giggled. Did you come here to mock me again? It would have been better if you'd killed me last time. But you remembered everything. I remembered, and it's even worse because of that. You're the one at fault here. At fault for what? For trying to stop you from leaving with Cat-Eared? I know that was you in that bus. There was still no emotion on the pioneer's face. Maybe it was, or it wasn't. What's the difference now? That means you managed to get out and came back just to mock me? Didn't you do the same? Stop pushing these morals onto me, for God's sake.
I'm a murderer, not a bully.
God. Get it right, greenish gray Semyon. I was down on my knees and looking at Zhenya, who was slowly getting further and further away. And there she went around a corner. I can't get her back. Anyway, I knew that this wasn't Zhenya. My real Zhenya disappeared yesterday. This was just a soulless doll that looked like her. But she looked just like her. The tale can't last forever. This world is a true hell and I'm the demon. And demons can't ever reach true happiness. Just tell me one thing. I killed the silence. Why is everything like this? You had a chance from the very beginning, a choice. You could have done everything differently. Many did it right, different from how you and the others alike did. Yeah, you're right. They all got out and are now living happily with their dolls in the real world. I grinned. Do you think that your life is better? He clearly emphasized the word life. If you're the one that took Zhenya away from me. Rage was growing inside me. I wanted to jump on him and beat him to death. But I wasn't sure that he existed in the physical world. But even then, what would change? You could have been happy with every other girl. That's the reason they're all here. I didn't expect such an answer. But none of them are real. The only real ones were me, you, us all. Zhenya. That's only for you and your world. You know that there are many realities, and in every one of those you pick your own faith. Maybe there was only one Semyon, but this camp gave him multiple possibilities and personalities, I guess. Someone managed to get out and now lives happily, like you said. Someone stuck, like you. Can you tell me what this place is, who you are? You can think of me as the camp leader. A better, smarter camp leader. The pioneer gave a smile without any trace of mockery or irony and vanished. I felt a bit easier after hearing his words. The world was suddenly engulfed in fog and a bright flash appeared in front of me. I looked around and realized that the pioneers are gone as well as the bus. What again? The gates creaked silently and I hid behind the pioneer's monument. Semyon walked onto the bus stop, one of the Semyons, but his facial expression was painfully familiar. I'd forgotten long ago that I can look exactly like that. He stared at the road for some time and headed back into the camp. Don't trust him, I said, on an impulse. Who are you? Semyon looked surprised. Stop, don't come any closer. Alright, I'll stay here. Oh my god, this Semyon is the Semyon who was hiding behind the thing? Forgot about him. Have you seen him? Talked to him? Who are you even talking about? You know who. Yes. What did he tell you? Nothing really. Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do, threaten you? No, nothing like that. Of course, he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone, or more likely. He is alone, but you may meet many pioneers here who look like him. And what about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from? You will understand, in time. Just remember the most important thing is to find the exit. The wind became really strong for a moment and the same flash appeared before me. And again in an instant the bus and pioneers appeared once again. I don't know what I told him everything for, though it was the right thing to do. If only I remembered what remorse and repentance were, then possibly that would be what I am feeling. A pioneer should always be ready. A familiar voice sounded like thunder in the midst of a clear sky, and a familiar thump on my back brought me out of the catatonic state I was in. Zhenya was standing in front of me. I instantly knew that this was Zhenya, not the doll. But how? Those were the only words I could whisper. I don't know. She smiled, but her voice was trembling. Back then, after the wedding, I woke up in a different world. I thought that I'd lost you, and then there were so many loops that I nearly forgot. Sorry, I said quietly. Forgive me for everything. But that was okay. Then he came and said that he could guide me to the world you're in. I didn't believe it at first, but here I am. I jumped forward and hugged Zhenya. Forgive me, I'd forgotten. Everything forgotten you. I've done so many bad things to you. I didn't believe it, didn't hope for it. I'm sorry. Ugh, you're going to suffocate me. She freed herself from my arms. But now I'm here, so everything is okay. She said through her tears. How can you be so calm? Because I always knew that we were going to be together. Zhenya raised her right hand, and on her finger I saw a ring that was woven out of May lily. I've lost mine, sorry. It's okay, we'll buy a new one. She smiled. Hey, hop onto the bus, you two. Olga Dimitrievna was screaming discontentedly.
She came back.
The bus was peacefully bounding over the bumps and slowly driving towards the district center. Or wherever it was going, really.
Don't ever leave me again.
You know, I can't believe that everything will end. I've gone through so much in the last week. And once again, you got the most interesting parts. Zhenya sulked. I don't think you'd like to exchange places with me. I can imagine, but it's still way more interesting than sitting in the library for days on end. You have weird ideas about interesting things.
I don't think you want to be in my place where I tortured and murdered everyone.
Did you think about it? About what? What will happen next? Tomorrow? We still need to meet somehow in the real world. Oh yeah, let me write down your address. Yeah, right, so you can send me a letter right now? I smiled. I'll memorize it, go ahead. We exchanged numbers and addresses. It's weird that we didn't have this idea earlier. I assume we never even hoped to get out of this world and we just didn't want to remind ourselves about our past lives. What do you think it will be like? The usual, we just fall asleep? Zhenya clasped my hand and pressed her entire body against me. I hope so. But in the end, this isn't the worst thing. I'd say one of the better ones. Zhenya yawned and closed her eyes. Sweet dreams. See you. I didn't say anything and just continued looking out the window at the landscape that was flying by. The Soviet camp was left behind and I will never return there. Yes, I was sure about that. But it will always be a part of my life. Because it was very traumatizing. I've changed there, changed multiple times. Compared to the time spent there, the mere 50-60 years that I have remaining in the real world are just a short moment, but I'll make sure to live them like a real human. Yeah, you're probably bad, just as that pioneer said. Zhenya mumbled through her sleep. What? Nothing, just sleep already. She laughed and pinched me painfully.
Stop pinching me, it hurts.
I wonder what everyone else felt in my place. The same loss of consciousness in the first moments, the feeling of anxiety, panic. I came back to my old apartment, but I didn't recognize any of it. Yes, it definitely feels like being in a house that you lived in many years ago. Everything looks to be in the right place, but you don't remember anything, you just think that this is how it's supposed to be. I've already forgotten that the day I've disappeared from this world, and I'm not so sure about the year either. But it's winter outside, and that means that not much time has passed there. Here. Yeah, I'm not 17 years old anymore, but I don't look like my real age either. So it turns out everything went okay. My return didn't have any unexpected consequences. Zhenya. I rushed to the table and wrote down the address and phone number with a shaking hand. I obviously wouldn't be able to forget them, but it's better to have a backup anyway. Now what's next? How does this world work anyway? It's been so long since I've been by technology. The laws are completely different here, none of which, to be honest, I've ever understood. And now I'm like a newborn forced to live an adult's life. But let's save that for later. For now, I need to find Zhenya. Someone rang the doorbell. Humans.
Humans.
Real humans. not pioneers. I've got to open the door. What else can I do? I finally returned and I have to live in this world now. I slowly walked up to the door and turned the key in the lock, grabbed the handle and froze. So, how long should I stay in the doorway for? Winter-themed. I opened the door with a jerk and I saw Zhenya. Puppy dog eyes staring into my soul. She looked just like she did in the camp. But, how'd you find me so fast? I just got up. Remember, I always arrived in the camp 1 week earlier than you, and I returned 1 week earlier. I forgot about Semyon, forgot about the real world. The only thing that mattered is we're together, and now we're gonna have a real wedding. Never gonna leave me. I got PTSD, don't want to go to sleep now. I grabbed Zhenya and carried her into the room. So are we going to stand around? Sorry. Zhenya lightly jumped down onto the floor. Wait a bit. We need to do this right now. We might not have time for it later. She smiled and started digging through her purse. Give me your hand. I extended my arm out to her, and Zhenya put a ring on my finger. Just a very basic one, like the one back in the camp. In the dim light of a dusty ceiling lamp, a golden ring was shining on her finger. I think I should have bought the rings. Well, judging by the looks of your man cave, I don't think we have the money for them. We laughed together sincerely. Real snow was slowly falling outside the window. White, beautiful snow, the darkness of the night sliced by thousands upon thousands of the lights of the big city, which was singing with hundreds of voices, reminding us that we're still alive and still together. I gently moved my hand across Zenya's cheek. Warm, real. You won't disappear this time? You better believe it. You still owe me money for the rings. I hugged Zhenya and kissed her like never before. What the heck? There wasn't a credits. Is this a mod, or would this be considered like DLC or something? I mean, it's under mods. But there also wasn't a credit, so like, who did it? Anyway, that was actually a really nice story to read through because it connected with the other pioneers and all that. It wasn't just another route. It gave more to the story, and that's nice because I really did want to have the other Semyons to be in use more than the very few times that it was in use. Anyways, Zenya's route was very, like, heart-wrenching. Because, like, you go through what he must have had to deal with all the looping and looping again, and then you finally find somebody else who is like you amongst all of this repetition, and you spend all this time, and it's nice, and then you have the wedding, and all of a sudden it's not her anymore. It's just like, what the heck? No! Wasn't cool at all. So it's like, I suppose this Semyon kind of, I think he went through his, his angsty edgelord phase, met Zhenya, was not that, and then returned to it because he was upset again. So it's like, that's so messed up after losing this connection with your previous world, only to be stuck with repetitions again. And then he freaking went through the worst. He's all like, oh my god, things are changing again? That's never happened before. And then he gets his ass whooped. What was he doing anyways? He wasn't really... Like, he kept mentioning that he was gonna do something, but, like, he wasn't really all that mean.
You'd think that, like, even despite the change, she would have been, like, a little more bitter about it, considering that that's what it seemed like. But anyway, I really like this. I really like Zhenya. Anyway, that should be the very, very last thing to do. I might do Samantha's if it's finished. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And like I said before, if there is anything that's English translated, you can tell me in the comment section. Otherwise, this is the last I'll be seeing you guys for Everlasting Summer. And oh, actually, no. I don't think this will be the last. I'm planning. I really want to do a revision of what I think of the entirety of the game. So, like, everything that I've ever thought for my afterthoughts, I'm gonna go through it again and put it into a slightly more coherent. It's still gonna be informal. I don't like the thought of doing a formal review, considering I've never done one before. But I'll make a video of that once I get everything figured out. Because words are difficult. It's been a while since I've written anything that's considered essay related. But I'll make a video once I get that finished. I'll also have the text version of it posted on my Patreon if you're interested in just the text version and not me just talking. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I guess if you stick around, I'll see you in the next thing that I do, which, hint hint, is going to be another visual novel. Though I'm thinking of doing Nekojishi, which is a Chinese visual novel that deals with furries. And it's gonna be a male main character with male romance options. I'm just saying. I hope you guys have a good day and a good night. Bye-bye.